The future of crypto is bright. That would definitely be my blank. The future of crypto is bright, but it's very hard to get there. There is a lot of stuff that needs to be done to get there. I think many people compare like Bitcoin to Facebook and say, oh, Facebook went to billions of users in 10 years. Where did Bitcoin get in 10 years? So we definitely need a lot of things to be done to get to the billion of users.
Hey everybody, Tanner here with WAGMI Ventures. On today's episode, we have Alex Salnikov, co-founder and chief strategy officer at Rarible. For anyone who's new, this is the WAGMI Ventures podcast, where we do snapshots with interesting founders from across Web3. Check out wagmiventures.io to learn more about the syndicate behind the podcast. But for now, let's get into it with Alex from Rarible. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm here today with Alex, co-founder and chief strategy officer at Rarible. Alex, how's it going today?
Hey, doing great. Just come back from vacation, feeling nice and refreshed. All good.
Nice. Very good. Well, I'm really excited to talk today. So maybe here just to start, if you could just tell us a little bit about what you were up to prior to launching Rarible, maybe just a quick snapshot of your story. That might be a good place to start.
All right. So there are different versions of that by length. Just going back, it always feels like something is very important. Then something before that was very important. So I think long story short would be I was in crypto for 10 years. So pretty much there wasn't any Web2 experience before that. I started doing crypto in the university. And because it was a passion, I studied computer science and I was always a tech guy, fixing people's computers and stuff like that in school. I had great just results on mathematics and physics, and all that kind of predisposed me to feeling very excited when I discovered crypto, because it was almost like the new financial system was built by engineers and not economists, right? That was probably what got me into crypto initially. And it's free and open, libertarian, built by engineers, this open source mentality, all those like cloud of tags. I think culturally, I was sold to crypto from the very first time. There was a nice journey after that because I didn't have any experience in working, but we just started to do startups, being first-time founder, second-time founder, third-time founder. I think I calculated at some point we had pretty much like 10 different business ideas that all went to the different stages. Of course, like about half of them died on the pitch deck stage, but some of them went further. We did exchanges, we did fiat, on-ramp and off-ramp services in 2017. And the further it progressed, the better it got. In 2017, we launched the business that allowed you to create your own ERC20 tokens. That was a boom of ERC20 market in 2017. Everybody was launching their token. And that was pretty much what capitalized into momentum of building Rarible during the bear market of 2018, 2019 to basically shine during the bull run of 2021. That's the long story short.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about Rarible here, where Rarible has quite a few products and offerings and things going on. So could you tell us in your words, like what has Rarible built thus far and what's it building toward?
Yep. We started with a very simple tool. Let's mint some NFTs, right? We're taking a look at the space, and what we saw is that there was a lot of new infrastructure now. In 2017, that was very hard to interact with smart contract dApps. You needed to add smart contract to your desktop wallet and do crazy stuff like import your API and like just something not very suitable for the consumers. And so when there was just many more wallets available on the market, on-ramp services, it felt like, there is finally some room for consumers to adopt the Web3 technology. That's why we launched the product, which was very simple. NFTs are great, but there is almost no NFTs out there. Let's create a tool that would allow everybody to create their own first NFT. And it blew up from there. So we created that tool. We didn't know what will happen with it. We were open-ended. Who will use it? Maybe somebody will use it for tickets. Maybe somebody will use it for billable hours of freelancers. Let's just see where the experiments would go. And the crypto art market adopted that tool. People started to come to the platform and mint art and sell it to their fans. And I was like, wow, nice. So this crypto art market is something something meaningful. There is a lot of creators, there is creator economy, and they all get just monetized by big corporations. They need a way to monetize. So that was the whole premise and thesis behind the NFT marketplace for art. Now, about a year into Rarible's life, we thought the art market is great. It's fundamental. It's not like pump and dump. It's here to stay. It solves to some fundamental need. And there is so much more potential in the NFT market to solve for other fundamental needs. How do we solve for that? How do we create a product that would incorporate different NFT use cases beyond just art into the platform? And there was basically two routes. One of them is try to incorporate everything under one marketplace, kind of like the Amazon route. Let's just create one big marketplace that will be probably like gray, neutral, and very templated. Or let's try to do this Web3 way and create a protocol that would power the other experiences, the other front ends, the other UIs that would connect to wallets, to mobile apps. And this is the route we've picked. We created Rarible protocol, which is a set of tools that know everything about NFTs on multiple chains and that allow you to transact with them, sell them on the API level. And on top of that, we've built the UI level. So today, Rarible is mostly the protocol, which is the backbone technology of everything, and has different UI levels of there is a main Rarible marketplace, and there is a white label business that allows big brands to come to us and to build their own marketplace. And there is even a self-service tool that allows yourself to create a marketplace with no code, just interaction. You click buttons and you create yourself a marketplace. So to summarize, it sounds like a lot. And if we try to map this out, there is just big indexer technology behind that indexes all NFTs and knows everything about NFTs. And then there is various forms of representation of how do actual people interact with that. One of them is main Rarible marketplace, and there is many more other for other use cases, for other experiences. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. That makes a ton of sense. Before we unpack, I think, different elements of that, I want to jump to something you tweeted in May 2022, where you had said bear markets are innovator times. And I think that's something, especially this past year, we've heard from a variety of places, but I'm curious if you could explain more from your perspective how bear markets are innovator times and why they present unique opportunities.
Yeah. In the bull run, everything grows, and bull runs are more or less scaling times. You take what works and you multiply it. We've seen that with PFP, we've seen that with crypto art, and I was even a little disappointed because us as a company in the middle of the bull market, we tried to innovate, support faster blockchains. We added Solana, Tezos, Polygon, Flow to the marketplace. And we were always thinking what's next for NFTs, while the market was actually enjoying what we already had. Oh yeah, there is a PFP. Let's launch more PFPs. Let's trade the hell out of them and earn some money. So that was almost like one of our mistakes. But the Rarible itself started, as I said, in 2017 on the 2017 bull run and then subsequent bear market, right? And in the previous bull run, everybody was doing the same. Everybody was capitalizing on ERC20 tokens and tried to launch everything with blockchain. But then in the bear market, the actual infrastructure was built. Now you had MetaMask wallet, you had other wallets, you had wallet connected. You can connect your wallet to the dApp from just mobile. And you had on-ramps that were built. So in the bear markets, when there is no just like money flying around, you have much more of the quiet time for creative builders to come up with the better infrastructure. And Web3 space is so early. If you go to the Twitter today, what people are complaining about, gas prices, right? We are living in the internet where it costs $100 to click a button. This is very early. No surprises that there is like 10,000 people that are trading NFTs every day, just 10,000, not millions, because the infrastructure are not there yet. And in the bull run, everybody is mostly excited about making money. But in the bear market, we're seeing new infrastructure. So we are seeing cool stuff such as account abstraction, ZK sync, layer 2s coming to the space that are doing much faster chains. We're seeing bridge aggregation. So there is a promise that the next bull run will actually have the blockchain that you click a button and it just works and it doesn't cost you $100. And maybe you don't need the gas prices of some magic internet money to even click that apps or wallets can subsidize the Polygon transactions or something cheaper. So this is what I'm saying, that my tweet is saying basically that most of the innovation will happen on the layer 1, layer 2, that will enable faster experience, and the wallet side that will enable better UX for more people to connect. We've seen the clear limitation of Ethereum and the current wallets in the height of the 2021 bull run, when the new people were coming to the space. We're saying, how do I get this gas money? Okay, I get it somehow through exchange, but then, okay, everything is so expensive. Even minting costs $100. Okay, that doesn't sound too fun. So I spent most of my money and I leave. So that is not the kind of experience we want to give to people. We want to give to people a joyful and affordable and fast and fun experience.
Love it. Yeah. I'm curious. So before jumping in a little more directly on Rarible again, over the past year, there's kind of been this back and forth debate about what to do with NFT royalties, right? And a big part of the promise of NFTs and Web3 was kind of ostensibly to give creators more ownership of their content. But there seems to have been some debate in practice over what to do with NFT royalties. So, in light of kind of that, I guess, context, how do you personally think about this conversation? And then how did Rarible navigate this kind of somewhat controversial topic?
Yeah, the royalty is one of the early promises of the NFT market. And the NFT market started with art. And for art market, this is very important. So this is a real innovation, something that didn't exist in the traditional art market. Whenever the artist gets popular, he wants to have an exposure to the popularity of his work later after they were sold. So getting a percentage of the resales was something like blastly innovative for artists, that many of them came specifically for that to the market. And then we've seen this market to shift towards the more of the PFP, when you trade almost a liquid asset. You trade it frequently. You trade it for 5% profit. You almost trade it on exchange type of the interface when you see the price as the main item on the marketplace, not even the picture itself. So this sparked this royalty controversy because there are marketplaces that said, okay, we can capitalize on the fact that we won't pay royalties on these liquid assets, and the traders want not to pay royalties because they want to make fast turnaround and they want more liquidity. So to me, I think that fundamentally royalties are very good and very necessary for the art market. And for PFP market, it is questionable. It is not fully clear whether you want to have royalties and you want to have a secondary stream of money from that, or you want to have a very liquid asset. Because there was an experiment during the 2021, such as when there was a summer of rebasement tokens. There was a bunch of tokens that tried to incorporate the royalty idea for the ERC20 model. And it didn't really work, because for the ERC20 token, you want liquidity. You want as many people to be able to transact as larger sums of money on a daily basis for the project's benefit, right? You want them to be liquid. And something like that is you still want for the PFP collection as well. So for the PFP collection, it is due to the collection owners to decide. And the overall controversy just came from the fact that you can't enforce royalties on chain. And that's why there was an idea like, okay, some marketplaces stopped enforcing them and gained market share because of this. I think brilliantly, the market came to the equilibrium where you can enforce now these royalties, right? You can block the marketplaces that do not enforce royalties, and the marketplaces that enforce royalties will enforce that. I think today there is a configuration exists where you keep royalties both on OpenSea and Blur if you block the right marketplaces. And as if how Rarible navigated that, we've just been always committed to enforce royalties no matter what, without looking at what collection blocks or not, as the artist first marketplace is because of our history, because of our connection to the market. That was always our stance of, yeah, we're here with royalties.
Nice. That's a helpful explanation. So one kind of, I guess, recent news was that Rarible announced a partnership with Mattel last month for a new Hot Wheels virtual marketplace. I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit more about that deal and some of its prospects.
Yeah, this deal exactly fits our vision that we've been pursuing of a protocol that will power the next generation of NFT use cases on faster chains, much closer to consumers. Mattel is the brand that we all know from our childhood. It's a brand behind Barbies and Hot Wheels. It's a very powerful IP machine that produced IP that is loved all over the world. And NFT is the standard that was created for basically digitalizing IP. Makes a ton of sense for them to adopt it. So I think they partnered with Cryptoys, a company that produces like NFTs, and they did a couple of pilot projects, and they successfully launched several primary collections. And they came to us saying, okay, that seems to be working nicely. Can we please do the secondary marketplace with you? So we have the technology, we have the protocol that knows everything about NFTs, that works with faster chains, with Flow, with Polygon. They were on Flow. So in the partnership, we created a marketplace that showed good success, where people can actually come and list items inside Hot Wheels collection, can buy them. We have a partnership with Coinbase for Flow on-ramp and off-ramp, because this is mostly non-crypto native people. They need on-ramp, they need off-ramp. So we are super, super proud of working with big brands that have IP, that are bringing their IP to the metaverse in the right way, in the interoperable way, on-chain. There will be many more of those using our protocol. This is our vision finally come true for the bigger use cases of different apps using our infrastructure. I'm super happy about that.
Yeah, congratulations. That's really cool. It's kind of similar note. So A16Z obviously recently released their 2023 State of Crypto report that a lot of people have read. And, I think one of the more surprising or interesting numbers to me was the amount of NFT buyers there still are on a monthly basis. And so I guess I'm curious, are you happy or at least content with the mass market NFT adoption at this point in time, or are you disappointed in where it's at, sort of despite really like where we're at in the market cycle? And I guess a related question too, where I think based on things you've said, I have a hint as to what you'd say to this, but what do you view as the next growth vectors to onboard the next wave of users? Do you see it potentially being this verticalization of, or whether it's verticalization or more niche communities led by large corporates or enterprises bringing people in? Or how do you think about that whole kind of constellation of thoughts?
Yeah. To begin with, I think it's hard. Rather disappointed in the number of users, because during 2021, I thought it would just be much faster, right? The technology is there, the faster chains are there, but the adoption of all that is hard, because blockchain is the game of almost standards. In order for the fast blockchain to get popular, you need multiple dApps, multiple wallets to adopt it. It needs to become a market standard before people start to actually use it. You need to have ecosystem. You need to have stable coins. You need to have liquidity. You need to have a trades on exchanges. So even if you have the new technology that allows you to do things faster and better, it still takes years of multiple market participants to catch up and adopt that technology. And before a critical mass of people adopt that, it doesn't work. So that's the sad part. So I'm rather disappointed, but it still remains the same growth vectors. There is a cycle of infrastructure and apps following each other. So at some point, the faster internet was developed, the 3G technologies, the LTE technologies for mobile that gave birth to the video streaming, and YouTube that gave birth to like just myriad of apps using that. So we're seeing the cycles of upgrading to infrastructure that gives birth to the cycle of new applications. And currently, we definitely need to upgrade the infrastructure. So what are the use cases for crypto today? Just from the 20,000 feet view, people started to use crypto as the global reserve currency. Okay, this means to store money. And this use case is still there. Then there was the birth and a wide adoption of stable coins for large trans-country payments. I think many people are paying each other in stable coins when they need to send money abroad. That is quite widely adopted, but only for the large transactions today. There is DeFi that allows you to borrow money in a very fast fashion against your assets as collateral. This is very impressive. This does not exist in the traditional market. If you want to borrow some money against your stock, so that's hell. And there is NFTs. So we have like 3 big use cases for Web3, right? It's trans-country payments, DeFi, and NFTs. And that's not a lot. We need so much more cooler use cases, even just regular payments. Everybody was dreaming about regular payments, and the regular payments are not possible before L2s or maybe even L3s, because we need blockchains to support that speed. So we're seeing a lot of cool stuff that can be done with blockchain, a lot of automations, but we don't see the infrastructure that is yet there. So we definitely need to upgrade the infrastructure. We need the wallets to be sane. I have not seen a newcomer who will come up on board to MetaMask, then they will send the transaction, and the MetaMask would estimate the gas prices wrongly because of the spike, not because MetaMask it does something wrong. So the MetaMask was estimated wrongly because of the spike, and then transaction would hang, and you would need to go and cancel your transaction by submitting another transaction with the same nonce and the higher gas. Okay. How can we expect people to get okay with that?
Right.
I mean, we need a better wallet UX. I'm super excited about account abstraction. You can have smart contract wallets when wallets are taking everything, abstracting away the transaction submission from the user. All the user needs is just to sign, and the wallets would estimate the gas prices, resubmit with the faster gas prices. The wallets can abstract away the need to have the gas token from L2s, from Optimism, from Arbitrum, from ZK L2s. So finally, I think the first cool example that we saw is actually Lens. So Lens, if you use the Lens apps, you don't need gas to use Lens apps. You can get onboarded to Lens without gas. Whenever you follow somebody on Lens, basically, the Lens protocol behind the scenes issues you an NFT on Polygon, and Lens is covering all the gas prices of Polygon. So you can actually get onboarded to the social app built on chain. You can click buttons for free. You can follow people. You can post NFTs. You can post posts, create posts that would be NFTs. All of that would be done for free behind the scenes for you in an abstracted way. So we need that level of infrastructure and apps to more people to adopt Web3.
Love it. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So quick question on Rarible here, where you guys not long ago decentralized Rarible into a DAO. And so I'm curious, what was it like decentralizing Rarible into a DAO, and how did you, what were some of the positives and negatives in that transition?
That's a great question. So first of all, I would say that we're following the progressive decentralization. So there is no that it wasn't decentralized and then it became decentralized. We are on the path of decentralizing different parts of Rarible. And the first part to be decentralized was the actual protocol. So we separated. At the beginning, Rarible was a completely centralized organization with all its code closed source, managed by the corporation. And it was utilizing smart contracts to make sure that, so saying completely centralized is not true, to make sure that we don't custody users' funds, we don't custody NFTs, everything happens on chain when you swap items. So we don't touch the money, it's done directly peer-to-peer on chain. That was the first decentralized part, right? And everything else was centralized. So the next step was, okay, we created a token that allows people to participate in the governance. And the governance was mostly signaling, okay, where are we going? What are we doing? And then the next step was creating a DAO that can do grants. That can do grants for people to adopt the protocol, but still it wasn't decentralized to the point when people can make decisions on actual protocol development. So currently we're still not there when people would be able to make a proposal to change something on the protocol level. Today's level of decentralization is protocol is open source, free, open to the community. It's mostly been developed by the labs company. So there is no yet outside contributions to the protocol. There is the fully autonomous on-chain DAO that manages the Rari treasury and makes decision about what can be the token incentives for the platform, What can we get back from the platform? So today it's a contractual relationship between the DAO and the labs company. And the DAO has the mandate of managing the treasury, managing the rules of quorum, voting, and all that, incentives. And we are working with the DAO so that the DAO governance would mature so that it can assume the governance of the protocol and be actually responsible for the full protocol lifecycle. So that sounds a little bit complicated now that I go over my answer. And so, yeah, it's hard, right? Decentralizing is hard, but it gives you a lot of resilience. So long-term vision is the DAO to be decentralized, on-chain, responsible for the Rarible treasury and the protocol, and the labs company to be the contributor to that protocol and to manage the front end of Rarible.com. That would be the long-term goal where we're going to. And today we're somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, that phrase progressive decentralization is really interesting. I think it's interesting for a number of reasons, but it's cool to see you guys moving in that direction and being able to say, we're not quite where we want to be yet, but we're in motion to get there. And here's how we're thinking about it. Here's the steps we've been taking. Here's how we started with decentralization in mind. So I think all of that thinking is really interesting. Maybe a couple last questions here for you, Alex. First question is kind of one that's become a bit of a recurring question on this podcast, where if I were to say the future of crypto is blank, how would you fill in the blank? Where is crypto going?
It's a great question. I think the future of crypto is bright. That would definitely be my blank. The future of crypto is bright, but it's very hard to get there. There is a lot of stuff that needs to be done to get there. I think many people compare like Bitcoin to Facebook and say, oh, Facebook went to billions of users in 10 years. Where did Bitcoin get in 10 years? So we definitely need a lot of things to be done to get to the billion of users. But once we get there, so the interoperability and automation level, it just would make everything so much faster and better.
Yeah, love it. Okay, two last questions for you. First question, what advice would you have for founders building in the crypto and blockchain space right now? Or similarly, if you were to go back to yourself kind of at the beginning of this journey, I know it was a very different kind of space at the time, but maybe even a couple of years ago, like what advice would you want to impart from your vantage point now to Alex then?
Yeah. I think in the very beginning, and mostly that would be the most useful advice to founders that are just starting in the crypto space, is you want to get the core community of crypto to be connected to you, to be supportive, because even if you build something that is absolutely great in silo without connection to other players, in the Web3 market specifically, that wouldn't work. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get up on Twitter, you want to connect with people. Whenever your project releases a new feature, just connect with other products and explore the latest trends. And so there's Lens is popular. Okay, do something in partnership with Lens. So when we started Rarible, we did, okay, now you can buy any item on Rarible with any ERC20 tokens that will be exchanged by KyberSwap. Now, something like that. So you want to connect with other players in the space. You want to build something together because the space is very collaborative, and the more interoperability there is, the better it would be for you. That would be the advice to the starting founders. You want to connect it to as many other players and to as many collabs of features with other Web3 companies.
Love it. Alex, what is your team working on right now? And what's the best way for people to follow along on the journey?
Yeah, of course, Twitter, as I said, at Twitter, at Rarible, my personal Twitter, at Insider0x. Follow us. Check out the newsletter. We have a nice editorial that will tell you about everything that we're doing. And as always, I said that Rarible is working on its vision to bring NFT to masses, to the consumers, to the retail people. And we're building a protocol that allows bigger enterprises and Web3 companies to adopt this technology to build this next generation of use cases that will actually make NFTs to come to every door on the daily basis, not on the monthly basis to the pro audience as it is now.
Love it. Alex, thank you so much for the time. This is a really interesting conversation, and I'm excited for all the exciting progress over the past couple months and all that's to come. So thanks again for coming on the show, and have a great rest of your week here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye-bye.